Torture is a practice as old as civilization itself. And throughout history, there have been countless ways to make someone else's life a living hell. But did you know that one of the most popular forms of torture during the Middle Ages was invented by the Romans? That's right. The Romans weren't just into throwing people in the Colosseum to be ripped apart by lions. They also developed some truly sadistic ways to extract confessions and punish those who got on their bad side. So today, let us take a journey back in time and explore one of the most brutal aspects of medieval torture: bars and torment. Imagine being locked up for a crime you didn't commit and having to endure the most excruciating form of torture known to man. That was the reality for many innocent people during the medieval times. During this dark period, the justice system was far from fair and just, and many people were wrongfully accused and sentenced to death. The primary purpose of these cruel and unusual punishments was to extract confessions from the accused, even if they were innocent. But the worst part of it all was that these tortures were carried out in public, serving as a warning to others who might consider breaking the law. It was a terrifying and traumatizing experience that left lasting scars not only on the victims, but also on their families and the community as a whole. Now let's talk about the bars and torment, a form of torture that originated in ancient Rome. This gruesome practice involved placing a person inside a wooden or metal box, sometimes with spikes, and leaving them to die of starvation and dehydration. But it gets worse. The box would then be set on fire, adding another layer of agony to the torture. This form of punishment was often reserved for Christians during the Roman Empire, as they were seen as a threat to the authority of the state. However, it wasn't limited to religious persecution. Enemies of the state, political dissidents, and common criminals alike could find themselves locked up in the bars and tormented. During the Middle Ages, this Roman invention made a comeback. People were often placed in a spiked cage called a scold's bridle that covered their entire body, including their head, and left only small holes for their eyes. They would be locked up for days, sometimes weeks, without food or water, slowly burning to death as the fire spread through the cage. To make matters worse, the burning would often be accompanied by ridicule and mockery from onlookers who would place bets on how long it would take for the victim to die. The sight of these burning cages became a common occurrence in medieval cities, serving as a constant reminder of the brutality and injustice of the time. Another popular variation of this gruesome torture method was the burning chair. As the name suggests, this involved locking a person to a chair and setting it on fire. The victim would be left to burn to death while spectators watched intently, making it an even more horrifying ordeal. These acts of cruelty and violence were not only intended to punish the accused, but also to send a message to the rest of the population to keep them in line. The public nature of these punishments ensured that everyone was aware of the consequences of opposing the authority of the state. But why did they choose fire? Fire was used as a form of torture and punishment for various reasons. Firstly, it was seen as a powerful and terrifying element that could be controlled to inflict maximum pain and suffering. The intense heat and flames could burn and scorch the body, causing excruciating pain and even death. Secondly, fire was associated with purification and cleansing, and it was believed that it could be used to purify the body and soul of the criminal. This belief was particularly prevalent in Christian societies, where fire was seen as a symbol of God's judgment and retribution. Additionally, the use of fire as a form of punishment had a psychological aspect to it. The sight and smell of fire can evoke fear and anxiety in anyone, and this was used to create a sense of dread and submission in those who were subjected to it. By controlling fire, the torturers had complete power over the victim's fate, making it a highly effective tool for instilling obedience and compliance. As we continue to learn about the dark history of torture, it is important to remember the victims and honor their memory by working towards a better and more just world. If you want to learn more about medieval torture, Stay tuned for more updates.